I'm Shira Lazar back with Katie Linendoll, and you were talking, of course, about the iPhone 4. You are a tech expert.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts? You don't own an iPhone 4. You're not going there, though.
No, but I have reviewed it for 2 weeks, and I think this got a little blown out of proportion. Obviously Steve Jobs came out yesterday, and I think what was all refreshing for the 3 million people that bought it and everybody that's been following the news on the iPhone 4 very closely, he came out and said, you know what, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. Phones aren't perfect, but we are here to make customers happy. So I think everybody was relieved that they are putting a Band-Aid on the situation. And for anybody that's not familiar, what's happening with the iPhone 4 is calls are being dropped and there's antenna problems. What's different about the iPhone 4 is the antenna is on the exterior of the phone. And we'll get you a device to show you that too. But since the antenna is exposed, calls can drop more easily. But what Steve Jobs came out and said is, listen, this isn't just proprietary to the iPhone 4. This happens on a lot of different smartphones as well.
I know. So why are we throwing Apple under the bus all the time?
Because this is testament to a very powerful brand. I mean, if this doesn't speak volumes about what people think of Apple, and when you are on top, everybody wants to bring you down.
Yeah, you know what? I think that back in the day a bit, people, Microsoft, they were the underdog to Microsoft. And we were like, go Apple, because Microsoft's, not only their devices are kind of wanky, but they are taking over the world. They're monopolizing. Well, now Apple's becoming the product that they were fighting against.
Right, and I think what's interesting to your point is nobody expects Apple to make mistakes, and nobody expects, as an early adopter, you wait in line for 4 hours and it's a version 1.0 mistake.
And these are geeks that will totally find those things that are wrong.
Geeks, let me tell you something, we're never happy. We will find a flaw. And it's funny too, you talk about Microsoft. Microsoft actually said, oh my gosh, this is like your Windows Vista. So they love to see Apple going down in this situation, even if it's blown out of proportion. I think when the statistics came out yesterday and Steve Jobs said 0.55% have actually called Apple to complain about an antenna or reception problem.
Yeah.
Let's all realize that is not a very high number, and only 1.7% have returned the device. Compare that to the 6% that returned the 3GS, which is like the gold standard. I was kind of shocked by those numbers. I thought it would be a much bigger deal. People aren't returning the phone. People are going to still buy the phone.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy in terms of Apple losing.
No, they're not. I mean, they've already sold 3 million in the past.
Yes.
Well, now it's 23 days.
Right. And they actually sold 1.7 million in the first 3 days it was out. The brand is not going to take a hit. I think it's a blemish on the biggest product launch of all time? Sure, but I mean, it is much a tech issue as it is a PR and a customer service issue. And as long as they take care of their people and humbly come out and say they had made a mistake, they're okay.
And a lot of people were also wondering, why did they really need a 2-hour press conference then to reveal that all the solution is a little bumper?
And it's a bumper, and it's also a Band-Aid. And I think it's funny, Apple doesn't come out and do these press conferences all the time. Yeah. So it was kind of a bigger deal. But listen, they were getting a barrage of criticisms from the tech world and from tech experts and also from media saying this reception issue is a big problem. These phones that just came out are dropping calls. But at the same time, look at those statistics that they provided. 0.55.
Because I was joking around because no one could actually call.
Right.
That was the joke that all the bloggers are making. Like, well, no one can call, so why are they going to call customer service? They have no signal.
Yeah, I did hear that
joke. Obviously. But it's also, I think, when Consumer Reports this week comes out and can endorse the product, you're like, okay, we have some issues on our hands. It's not just the bloggers and opinions. This is Consumer Reports. People actually trust a lot of the mainstream, later adopter consumers.
Absolutely, and that was kind of the icing on the cake. Consumer Reports was the catalyst after they said they couldn't recommend the iPhone 4. That's really what sealed the deal, and Apple kind of had to respond to it. But Consumer Reports did say if you put a bumper on the phone, it has much better reception. So now they're giving everybody a free bumper, and I think this is a great Band-Aid solution in terms of customer service for Apple.
We have to mention to all those watching live that, if you have an iPhone through September 30th, you can get your bumper or get it reimbursed. But then the question is, and I've talked about this also, is like, what happens after September 30th?
Hopefully by then we see both a software and a hardware upgrade. Obviously the antenna solution has to be fixed. They have 22 supposed PhD scientists and engineers working on the problem. So by then we'll hopefully see, or at least get a better answer and not just a Band-Aid solution.
Yeah, $100 million, he said, spent on this antenna center.
Okay.
It sounds like some sort of sci-fi center.
Yeah, they set up like a command center. Listen, you pay me $20, I'll figure out the solution for you. I am low maintenance. I am a lot cheaper. Give me like
maybe at least, or like 1 million.
Yeah, $1 million. I will remake the entire phone and do a full recall for you. That's all I'm asking.
People are going to be mad if they do a hardware upgrade after September 30th. People are going to be super
Steve
mad.
Garfield's in the chat room and he says they didn't say better reception, they keep reception from failing.
From what?
From failing.
Oh, failing. They keep reception from failing. Well, I must say, and my iPhone will be coming shortly, hopefully, but my SIM card's been messed up and my reception since yesterday.
You know, it's a matter of being inconsistent, too. What I think is interesting is, you know, I had their phone for 2 weeks, and then my friends and family have it. It's like 50-50, and I think that's obviously another reason why they didn't do a $1.5 billion recall. Typically, recalls are only done for, you know, safety or hazard issues. There was no way that they were going to take back all these phones, especially when across the board.
Oh, yeah.
It depends on where your signal is. It depends on where you're at. Listen, it's not
That's the excuse when they're like, oh, in San Francisco, you know, there's so many people on the network. Right. and then the best is when he threw all the other companies under the bus, too. Oh, with the Droid, the BlackBerry. There you go. We're going on a geek talk right now.
I love it. No, and I think that's a really good point. I think that was one of the only places I disagreed with
you
Jobs.
should have done that.
Listen, if you have...
The Motorola CEO's like, thanks, dude. Your company's messed up. Not mine right now.
No, I mean, it's like who throws, you know, in marketing and PR, you don't throw anybody else under the bus just to make yourself look good. Come out, admit the problem, and then just, you know, finalize the solution. Don't put anybody else under. Yeah. It's not cool. It's not cool, dude.
So, Katie, we need to go, but where can we find you online?
TalkNerdyToMe.net.
Such a fun URL. Okay, we will be back soon on Backstage Live. In the meantime, let's go to the broadcast right now.